All right, here we go. This one's going to be a 9mm test, and that is a huge thank you to Mr. Trey from Velocitas Ammunition. He actually sent this stuff out to make this test possible, so thank you, sir. We really appreciate you, and this should definitely be a fun one. So that one is the 96 grain Velocitas VX9 solid copper hollow point. That's what that thing looks like. It does have 3 very deep flutes cut down in that bullet. Your standard brass case is right at 1,350 feet per second, so see how close we come today. So we do have 2 different barrel lengths to try today. So for our first one, that one is the Smith & Wesson SD9VE, and that one does have that 4-inch barrel. And for our other one, we've been using our Glock 17 Gen 1 Reproduction, and that one does have a 4.5-inch barrel. So we'll be going through our gel. Those are 10% calibrated blocks. Do have our catch block behind that, so total 22 inches of gel, 4 layers of cotton t-shirt on the front, and like always, we'll set up our chronographs and hopefully pick up those impact velocities. So let's set up and see how this round does. All right, we're setting back to 15 feet. All right, let's see what we did on that one. All right, so it looks like our impact velocity on that one was 1282, so definitely not too bad. Rated was 1350, and that was out of a 4-inch barrel, so, you know, pretty darn good to see there. All right, so there's that entry. Looks like I got a pretty decent shot. You see right down in there and a pretty nice start pattern so far. I don't know if you guys could tell. I have tested this out of the short barrel also, but there is a little bit of a powder that's on the front end of that gel. So it looks like we're not getting complete burn, so that might be the reason. But let's check it out here from the top. Oh yeah, definitely not too bad. So it looks like basically as soon as that thing came in, we started getting some nice expansion. Very uniform expansion too. You can see those nice cuts going all the way through. Looks like it pretty much carried that through that first block, and then it just settled down a little bit towards that second block. And we made it a pretty good ways into that second one, so that's always good to see. So let's see what kind of measurement we have here at our widest spot. Like I always do, we'll cut these open later to get a little bit more accurate cross-section measurement, but here from the top, it looks like we're about 1.5 inches, so that's definitely not too bad. That is a pretty light for caliber round also, and it is standard pressure. It's not a plus P load, but definitely looking pretty good. So you can see it came in, opened up. Once again, man, you can see those really nice distinct cuts going through, and then it did carry that pretty much 2/3 of the way through that block, where it did start to taper off, and then flatline there in that second one, and there it is. So let's see what kind of measurement we have here from the side. And it looks like at our widest spot, we are just shy, actually, right at 1.5 inches. So I believe that's the same as the top. So that's good to see. Pretty consistent there. And it is kind of facing upward. And at our leading edge, we are right at 6.5 inches. So that made it 17.5 inches of total penetration. So very impressive. Like I did say, I did test this a while back with a short barrel, and we were getting quite a bit of penetration with that one as well. So let's set it for that full size and see how that one does. All right, we're setting back to 15 feet. All right, let's see what we did on that one. Almost caught that piece of brass with my beard. All right, so it looks like our impact velocity on that one was 1334. So that's actually awesome to see. Like I said, rated was 1350, so great to see, you know, out of that full size that we're getting that little bit higher velocity. I'm sure that that one was optimized for full size, but really good numbers there. All right, and there's that hit on that block. Looks like you got a perfect shot this time. You see right down in there, man, check that out. You can see those kind of triangle cuts, and a really nice star pattern so far. So let's check it out from the top. Oh yeah, definitely not too bad. So it looks like as soon as that thing came in, we started getting some nice immediate expansion. You can see those really nice distinct spiral cuts going all the way through. Looks like maybe that last inch or two, it did start to settle down a little bit, and then we actually did make it into our second block in quite a ways, pretty much right next to that first shot. So really good stuff. Like I said before, this stuff is great, you know, a great penetrator. And we will be testing barriers soon, you know, auto glass, car doors, all that good stuff. So this one will definitely be a fun one for that. So let's see at our widest spot here from the top. Looks like we are about 2 inches, so a little bit more than that first one. So that's great to see. So let's check it out here from the side. And pretty much same thing from the side. Hopefully you guys are able to see that. Came in, opened up, dumping all its energy. You can see really clean, distinct cuts going all the way through. And then maybe that last inch or so where it did start to settle down a little bit, and we did make it into that second one. So let's see here from the side what our measurements looking like. And we are just about 1 3/4 inches. So it looks like a little bit less from the side than the top, just like the last one. But, you know, still very impressive there. And then hopefully you guys are able to see it. It is this one here on the top. That one is facing forward. And at our leading edge there, we are at 6.5 inches. So that made it 17.5 inches of total penetration. Let me see what that first one was. They're literally exactly the same. That one I think was 6 1/4, but pretty impressive, man. Stuff really digs down in that gel for sure. So we'll check these out one more time from the top. So one on the right was that first shot, one on the left was that second shot. So here's that first shot. This one was out of the 4-inch barrel. Came in, opened up really nice. Nice star cuts going all the way through. Tearing this gel up. You can see where it did start to taper off a little bit towards the end. Didn't make it into that second block. It is this one here on the top. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see that right now. And here is that second shot. Pretty much same thing. This one was moving a little bit faster, so we got a little bit more damage. But came in, opened up. Once again, man, nice tearing up of that gel. Nice spiral cuts going through. Can't see where it did start to kind of taper and flatline that last inch. And then this one also made it into that second block in quite a ways, and that one is right there also. So really good to see there. So let's pull these rounds and see what they look like. All right, check these things out. Looks like they both got some awesome expansion. So the one on the right was that first shot, one on the left was that second shot. So here's that first shot. Absolutely picture perfect expansion. You can see these do have 3 nasty petals sticking out, and they open up perfectly. Like I did say, I did test this out of the short barrel. Looks like pretty much the same performance. Maybe pulled them back a little bit further, but man, it's definitely one wicked round. And those petals are super sharp, so got to be careful pulling them out of whatever medium you're shooting it into, but definitely some nasty stuff there. One wicked looking round. And here is that full-size 4.5-inch barrel shot. This one pretty much same thing. You can see it actually has a plug of that cotton t-shirt in there, but it didn't prevent it from opening up. You know, it definitely did really good. You can see, hopefully you guys are able to see it, right where those petals are bending back. It looks like they are a little bit stressed. You can see them kind of just about at their breaking point there, like they might shear off if there's a little bit more velocity, but pretty impressive stuff, man. Like I said, that's a wicked round. And I will test the stuff against, you know, your Gold Dot, HST, all that stuff like that, just to see how it performs. And also, like I said, we'll be doing barriers soon, so that should definitely be a fun one to test in the barriers. But wicked looking stuff. So we'll check these out one time from the bottom. So the one on the right was that 4-inch, one on the left was that 4.5-inch. And last time from the top. So like I always do, guys, we'll rinse this, get our still shots, slow-mo everything here at the end. Once again, thank you, Mr. Trey, for sending this stuff out. Really appreciate you. Definitely a fun one, and you know, this is some great ammo, so keep up the great work there. But anyways, that one was that Velocitas VX9 96gr solid copper hollow point, 4-inch versus 4.5-inch. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, so there's that cross section for that first shot. This one was out of that 4-inch barrel. But you can see some pretty crazy stuff right there. Some really nice splits. You can see that tri-cut. You know, those bullets do have 3 petals. I couldn't tell this out in the field. It looked like your normal kind of star pattern, but that is pretty interesting right there. It has a really distinct tri-cut in there. So very cool to see. So I did remeasure these. They are peaking right at the 2-inch mark and averaging right around that 1.75 inches. So definitely pretty impressive. So let's cut it open. All right, so there's after being cut. So this bottom is the right side and this top is the left. So it looks like as soon as that thing came in, right around that 1/2 inch mark. So, you know, our typical hollow points are right around that 1/4 inch. This one does look like it was a little bit delayed, but whenever it did open, man, it was pretty darn impressive. You can see those really nice cuts going all the way through. I actually did leave a little bit more of the block than I normally do because the path actually drug out a lot further than like your typical hollow point. Also, it didn't taper off as quickly, and I think because those you know, petals are just sticking out there, and they were very sharp, like I said, out in the field. But you can see it did drag in a little bit of that cotton t-shirt and some very distinct cuts. Pretty interesting how it did cut it. You can see right there if you kind of lift that flap. Very clean, and like I said, I couldn't tell out in the field, but those tri-cuts are pretty cool. Pretty cool to see, and cool to see, you know, how well these rounds actually work. So here's that top, same thing, came in, opened up. You can see, you know, a little bit more distinct right there, and then as soon as it did, man, it really started jumbling this stuff up. You can see once again, nice wide path, very clean cuts going all the way down in there. And let's do one more quick angle. And I think it was moving almost 1,300 feet per second, so that was really good too. The thing I have been noticing though is we're not getting complete powder burn. There's usually a few specks on the front end of the gel, so kind of interesting there. But anyways, one more quick angle. You can see how distinct and clean those cuts are. And here's that other side. Pretty much same thing. But there we go, guys. That one was out of that 4-inch. All right, and here's that cross section for that second shot. This one was out of that full-size Glock 17 with the 4.5-inch barrel. So pretty much same thing as that last one. You can see that nice tri-cut. This one you can actually see that really distinct kind of spiral pattern going all the way down in there from that bullet twisting from the rifle and just tearing stuff up. Same on this side. Really long cuts down in there. So I did remeasure these. They are peaking and averaging right the same at 2.25 inches. So just a little bit more than that last one. You know, of course, it is expected. It was moving a little bit faster. So really good to see so far. So let's cut it open. All right, so there's after being cut. So the bottom is the right side and the top is the left. So kind of like that last shot, right around that 1/2 inch mark where it starts to open up. And as soon as it does, it really starts dumping quite a bit of energy. You can see the path going all the way through. Really deep cuts down in there. Pretty nasty stuff. It doesn't look like this one drug in too much of that fabric, which is good. Oh yeah, you know why? That is kind of interesting. So this one was that Glock 17 shot. This is the one that actually was clogged with the cotton t-shirt. So I guess that's why I didn't even think about it. That's why we're not seeing it in the gel. It did take it with it, but the good thing was it didn't clog it enough to where it didn't perform. It actually did exactly like it was supposed to, even with you know, taking a chunk of that cotton t-shirt. So really good to see there. So great job on that. But same on this top, came in. You can see right where it was a little bit delayed, came in, then started to open up. Once again, a nice wide path and some more really clean cuts. Yeah, I didn't even think about that because I tried to get some of that cotton t-shirt out. It is still in that bullet, so you know, we'll show it here at the end. But very good performing stuff. We'll do one more quick angle. Like I said, out in the field, we will put this up against some Gold Dot, some HST, probably a few other rounds, just to see, you know, how it does side by side. But so far, so good. I have tested this out of the Canic, you know, that short barrel, and did absolutely perfectly just like these. So really good to see it, you know, works so well with the different ranges of barrel lengths. But anyways, one more time. You can see those nice deep tri-cuts down in there. And same on this side, just tearing that stuff up. So once again, thank you, Mr. Trey, for sending that stuff out. Really appreciate you. Was definitely a fun one. We do have some more tests lined up for this stuff. So that one was at 96 grain Velocitas VX9 solid copper hollow point. Thanks again for watching, guys.